Hello.
Now we need an intro.
What?
Intro.
Hello, welcome to this Swift Campout. Akron edition 2025.
So the bag-making company Swift Industries has been encouraging people to go out and camp on the weekend nearest to the solstice for years. They have official campouts, they have unofficial campouts, and then they have their flagship. If you're interested in learning more about that, Pathless Pedal did a great interview with one of the founders of Swift, which I'll link below. We always use this night as a shakedown ride for our camp setups and to make sure everything's good with our bikes, because we go on our week-long tour about a week after when the Swift campout falls. We had enough space at the two campsites we had rented for a number of people, but we didn't get like hard commitments from everybody, and it turns out less people showed up than we thought. Then Brad and Ames had an obligation that they couldn't get out of, so they weren't able to camp like they had planned, and it just turned into a real Charlie and the Chocolate Factory overnighter. You'll see what I mean.
Okay.
So on that first climb into downtown Akron, Kenny's free hub broke. That is something you can't fix on the side of the road, as you guys probably know, and if you've seen my video on gunk, something that has happened to me before. We were saying a total bummer because we haven't had much chances to ride with Kenny in a while because he's just been busy, and so he had to turn around and go back to the shop, but at least it happened real close to the beginning, so it's not like we were out in the middle of the nowhere on the country roads. We were doing something different on this campout than we usually do, just going somewhere we hadn't been before. So the route had us going down the towpath for a while, but then we would be cutting off and heading out to Wadsworth. Brad had actually planned the route to get us to Wadsworth Brewing, and he had some good little cuts in mind for it as well. Erin woke up not feeling 100%. She said she felt like she had almost a hangover type feeling. And when we got into Barberton here, she decided she was going to turn around. She actually had the chills and a little bit of a cold sweat, and it just made the most sense for her not to go on and risk it. So she kept us posted on her whereabouts and when she made it back to the car. I know some of you are going to ask about our bike checks and gear and all that stuff. I'm hoping to make a video showing some of the stuff that we bring on our week-long trip. It'll just depend. Sometimes you're spent at the end of the day. I have the best intentions, then we sit down at the campground and I just want to crack a beer and sit around the fire. This is a pretty cool cut through here. This land is all over a gigantic mine that has been closed. So it's been closed for a number of years, and there's a lot of cool off-road trails back here. I've showed some videos riding around here before. This we're taking kind of the most direct route through on these gravel roads. Woody's bike in front of me, since he won't be on our bigger trip, I'll let you know, is all city, and he's running that single speed and really cool orange anodized Velocity Aeron wheels. And then on the back for his bags, he's running two of the Swift Industries Junior Panniers, and that's Junior Ranger Panniers, and that's what I'm actually running on the front of my bike on this trip. So it was really hot on this day. The heat wave that has kind of hit the whole entire Midwest and eastern part of the country was just starting. The morning was still fairly cool, but it got warmer and warmer throughout the day. It was not nearly as bad as the next day was going to be, though. There is a short but pretty cool bike path into Wadsworth now. I feel like I've ridden most of it, but I felt like the end might be new. I'm not sure. I think it's only a few years old in general. Our destination in downtown Wadsworth was Wadsworth Brewing, a spot we've been to a number of times. They have great beer, and then they have thin crust pizzas for dinner. So that was the plan, get some dinner, have a couple beers, and then head out to the campsite, which I believe was about another 8 miles on from here. Brad and Ames turned around after dinner, and so it was just me, Woody, and Ben at that point. We stopped at a gas station on our way out of town to get some final supplies, water, and stuff like that. And then we went through a drive-thru to grab a couple beers and some more drinks for the evening. It was a really beautiful evening, and it was warm, like I said, but I don't know, when you're moving at this pace and there's some shade, it wasn't too bad. So pretty ride out to the campsite in Seville. I was getting some footage of this farm here. It's Yellow House Cheeses. They're a dairy farm, among other things. But we had actually camped out here during the pandemic because Aaron's friends are the owner of it. So it sits on this really cool piece of property that's like the highest in the area, so it just gets absolutely beautiful sunsets. When we rolled into the campsite and up to the camp store and office, it was crazy. I wish I caught some footage, but I was concerned with checking in and finding our spot. Everybody was just out. I think almost everybody had a beer, so just all the people who stay there were just like living it up on Friday night. You could see these pretty ponds and all that. That's on the way in. But as we passed all the RV sites, we got back to the tent camping spots, which were just here in the woods on their own. So really, really cool. And then also, even though all those people were out, it just completely quieted down at 10 o'clock. So there was no issues at all. So it was just, I've never rolled up to a campsite and seen people partying like that, but then had absolutely zero issues as the night went on. We got everything set up, and Woody he brought his fishing pole, so he wanted to throw a few in. That's what they call it in fishing, right? Anyways, after that, it was back to the fire, and the three of us just hung out and chatted for a little while. This campground was called Maple Lakes, by the way. In the morning, we got up, we made our coffee and stuff like that. We had considered going swimming in the pool, but it didn't open till 10 and we were kind of ready to go. Maybe if we still had the bigger group, we would have been chilling a little more and then ended up doing all that. But the three of us decided we would hit the road and get heading back towards home. We were doing a different route on the way home than we did on the way out. The way out, I was a little over 30 miles and I think about 1,500 feet of elevation. Our route home had me closer to, I think, 26 miles and 1,000 feet of elevation. Both of those routes will be linked down below to my Strava page, though, so if you want to dive into the details, you can. It got very hot very fast on this day. The one thing I find, though, is on a bike, it just doesn't bother me that much because you're just getting that constant breeze. When you stop at a stop sign or a traffic light, it can be brutal there for a minute. Good thing these are like big country roads and we weren't stopped very often until we got a little more back into the city. Also, a lot of times, unlike this, we're in the shade when we do our bike tours. Some of these roads were a little bit more exposed. I probably should have wore long sleeves on this day. I didn't get totally burned or anything, but a little more sun than I would have wanted. I could tell how hot it was because even though we were only doing 26 miles, we stopped twice to refill on water. The climbing on the loaded bikes on day number 2 did slow me down a little bit, but in general, me, Ben, and Woody were kind of cooking. We ended up with an average of over 15 miles an hour, so with some elevation and the loaded bikes, I thought that was a pretty good pace. Our route back took us through Copley, Ohio, through the outskirts here, but then we went right through the center of their little town as well, which is this circle here. And then it was basically back into the west side of Akron before cutting over north towards home. Kind of a cool, just quick overnighter. I was actually home, I think, by around 11:30. So Woody was calling it the sub 24-hour camp out. Here in Highland Square, we said goodbye to Ben. This is the neighborhood that he lives in. Then me and Woody decided to head off into downtown before turning north to head home. We could have cut through the valley, but both of us opted to not do the climbing after having a decent climby day already. Woody broke off towards home here in North Hill, and then I was on my own continuing back to the studio in Cuyahoga Falls. So when I got home, since I didn't really have anything planned for my day, thinking we would have been stopping for lunch, maybe going swimming, I talked to Erin, and she wanted to get out and go for a ride because she wanted to see how she was feeling the next day. So I kind of unpacked my stuff, dropped some of the weight, cleaned up a little bit, headed my Edmund, and then me and Erin were heading out. When we got down on the towpath, Erin realized she still just wasn't feeling that great. Again, it's over 90 degrees and humid, but we decided to go on and she just wanted to keep riding but go much slower, which was fine. Then we went to Magic City, and after sitting in the air conditioning for a while and drinking a bunch of water and eating some lunch, she did feel better. I thought I was going to run and get the car and just pick her up, but she was like, no, I think I'm fine riding home, and everything did go smoothly. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Give this video the thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, get subscribed now so you could see these upcoming bike packing and bike check videos we have on the way. Thanks as always for watching. Peace.